So without any further ado, let's go to number one. Well, the first beach that you're going to come to is Tarcoles Beach. Now, there are no signs for Tarcoles Beach. However, the beach is about 400 to 500 meters south of the famous Tarcoles Bridge. It'll be on your right-hand side, of course. That'll be pretty obvious to you when you see it. Now, this beach, as far as accessibility goes, you can drive right down there. As far as safety goes, it's a pretty safe beach as far as the waves are not too high because it's sort of protected as a bay. It's also an absolutely beautiful, beautiful beach. Now, there are some rocks at the beach that if you choose to, you can climb up on those rocks and fish, but even those do not look that dangerous. And there are other things to do there. There's a restaurant there. It's a family-friendly beach, in my opinion, and there are vendors there and that sort of thing. And the water is it slopes down into the ocean. So you know, if you have children or anything like that while you're fishing, of course safety first, but you don't have to worry about it as much. Then, the second beach that you'll come to is along Highway 34, is Parrita Beach. Now, Parrita Beach, it is a good place to fish for hardened fisher people. However, it's not very accessible. You have to go down a long gravel road, then you have to drive onto a beach, a sandy beach. We actually got our vehicle stuck there. And then when you get there, there is nothing else around there except for the Tarcoles, I believe it's the Tarcoles River. I'll put down in the notes here exactly what river that is. And so overall, it's a good place to get to. However, there's nothing else to do there except fish. I guess you could picnic there. There is a lot of people. The crowds are pretty big. And it's an all fishing crowd. So, not a bad place. It made it onto the list because, again, there are not a lot of places necessary, a lot of distinct places necessarily to fish from the shore. So the third one we get to is right there in Quepos. Now, the accessibility of the Quepos Park, or as it's formerly called, Parque Nahomi. If you're staying in Quepos, then this is the number one, and you are without a car, this is the number one accessible fishing location, because pretty much any hotel you stay at in Quepos, you'll be able to walk down to this park. Now, as far as safety goes, there are a lot of steep, jagged, volcanic rocks in that area. And so, some of my friends would really like it. I know Brian would really like it because he always feels like he needs to go do some adventure away from civilization. And this, even though it's only a block away from civilization, it really makes you feel like you're away from civilization. There are other things to do there. There's stand-up paddleboard, board rentals. There's the park. You can feed the monkeys. It's fairly family-friendly. There are swing sets and that sort of thing, and exercise sets in the park itself. It's a very small park. Not a bad place to fish. We fished there several times, caught some fish. We liked it. You really don't have to worry about crowds because for some reason you would think there would be a lot of crowds there, but there is not many people fishing there. In fact, we fished there several times and we were the only people on the rocks fishing, actually actively fishing. Now, you go down a little further and you get to Dominical, the Dominical Beach. Now, this is not accessible from a standpoint of you'll need a car to get there unless you're living in or you're staying in Dominical. If you're staying in Dominical, then the beach is as accessible as Quepos Park is to Quepos. Now, this particular town, as small as it is, it definitely, if you like to drink and eat and hang out and have fires on the beach, then this is probably the place to go. Even though overall Costa Rica is very pristine, this particular beach was the dirtiest of all the beaches we visited. And I think it's just a function of foreign tourists coming in by the droves. So it is crowded, it's a crowded beach, and that town is actually known more for surfers. So you will see a lot of people surfing there. Now, surfers are pretty cool when they're not surfing. But they make great companions in the restaurants and the bars and that sort of thing. So there we have it. So let's take a quick look at our course of action analysis for what we think are the best or the number 1 to 4 beaches to fish at of the ones that we've selected. So number 1 is Tarcoles Beach. It really offers everything for the fisherman, and it offers everything for the fisher person and their families. Second would be Quepos Park. Now, Quepos Park is number 1, or is high on the list, actually number 2, because if you're staying in Quepos, it's very accessible. If you're not staying in Quepos, then it's probably just as accessible as Dominical Beach. So you take that with a grain of salt. The next one is Dominical Beach. Now, Dominical Beach, access to the location, because the beach is right there by the town, and you don't have to go through any gravel roads or dirt roads or sand to get there. It is good. Now, why did I say that it isn't as safe? It's because the waves, keep in mind, the waves are famous waves for surfers. So if you go out there wading, you could get caught up in a riptide or something like that. So that's why I didn't mark it as being particularly safe. As far as other things to do, this is probably the place with the most things to do. And as far as fishing crowds, it is a very crowded beach for fishing. And then last but not least is Parrita Beach. Now, access to this location is tough. You're gonna have to have a car. It's a dusty, dirty road, and the first time you go, you'll be a little bit unsure where you're going, but you'll probably have Waze or Google Maps, so you'll do fine. Secondly, the safety. The reason I did not mark this as safe is because the 2 times we went fishing there, we saw alligators in the water. Again, it's at the mouth of a river, the Tarcoles River. Those alligators go down to the ocean and they eat the fish and stuff there. I don't know. I'll put down here in the notes or something like that, or I'll blow it up if I can research that anybody's been eaten at that beach or attacked. And then other things to do, nothing else to do except fish and picnic. And look at the buzzards. The buzzards love it there because there's so much, dead fish washing up on shore sometimes from the alligators and that sort of thing. And then it's a heavy fishing crowd, only fishing crowd, not really a crowd for anything else. Although, there might be a few folks, having a little bit of fun out there. But I don't know. So there we have it. I hope this is helpful. I hope the maps were helpful and the directions are helpful. And give us some feedback. If you have any further questions on any other places that I and Jane have personally fished. And you have a great day. And please remember, if you got this far in the video, please remember to subscribe and support us as we share with you the things that we do. Okay? Bye now.